Let's make an outfit for a music festival. I leave for Lost Lands in 4 days. It is time to stop procrastinating. I thrifted this dress and we're going to start with it. I'm actually going to use the straps on another project, so I'm going to seam rip those off. Okay, I'm going to seam rip these lines of the ruching so we can see what shapes we're working with up here to see what I want to do. Okay, so now I have 2 of these sort of shapes. And I think we're gonna run with that kind of as the shape of the top. I'm gonna have something else connecting in the middle. I will probably end up shortening them a bit, but I'm going to wait to figure out how much I'm gonna shorten. And I'm gonna cut out 2 panels for the side here that will then be the back of the shirt. And then we will lace them up along the back. So just 2 rectangles for each of these. Okay, so I sewed those on and now they're looking like this. I'm going to cut this to be even with the back piece. So the fabric that I've been working with so far is stretchy and I don't want it to be. If something is lacing up in both the front and the back, it can like pull weird and stuff if the fabric is stretchy. So I'm gonna line with this fabric. This is another dress that I'm gonna use the top for something else, but this fabric isn't stretchy, so I'm gonna line with this. So I'm going to basically just cut out these exact shapes in the lining fabric. Okay, now that I have the 2 pieces cut out in this shape, I'm going to sew these together just along this middle edge that will be right here. And while I do that, I'm going to sandwich some Ridgeline boning in there as well. So I cut the piece of boning to the length of the piece of fabric and I'm going to slightly melt the ends so that it's not as pokey. And you can sew through Ridgeline boning, so I will just put it right on the fabric and sew. There's the boning, and then whenever you flip it right sides together, it's inside of there. Now I'm gonna finish the top. Since this has the finished edge the whole way across it, I'm just gonna leave that as is, but the back lining piece, I'm going to fold down and then stitch that closed across the top. Okay, now that I have the basics of the front of the top, I'm gonna figure out how long I want it and hem the bottom. And I'll do that just by folding both of the pieces of fabric inwards and sewing that. And I'm also going to do the same to the back. I left them pretty long because I wasn't sure like where they would hit here, so I didn't know how long I wanted in the back. But now that I can kind of figure that out, I will make these the right length. It's honestly insane of me to be making this top the way that I am because I didn't really have a specific vision for what this looked like other than like a black tube top that's open in the middle. So I very easily could have just thrifted something that was a lot easier to change into exactly what I want, but I didn't feel like going back to the thrift store, even though that would have taken me way less time than what I'm doing, but that's fine. I also just added grommets along the back. I have a video in my beginner sewing playlist of how to do grommets, and this way we can lace it up through those. Okay, I played around with it a bit and I decided that I want it to be like one shoulder instead of strapless. So I added, these are ribbon so that they don't stretch, and then this is elastic so it has a little bit of give and is more comfortable as a strap. For bottoms, I haven't really been sure what I wanted to do, but this is what I have left. The skirt and then these little side flaps. So I might make this into a dress actually. Okay, what I think we're gonna do is reinforce these little side flaps. Since we started to seam rip it off, the thread that's holding this on right now isn't gonna hold very well. So I'm going to reinforce that on both sides. I'm going to hem the front, and the back is a little bit wide to be a skirt. So I'm just going to follow this same seam that's up the back and just take it in a little bit so that it's closer to fitting. And then we'll figure out exactly what I want to do. Okay, it's hemmed and it fits now. So I'm just sort of tucking these little flaps up and I'm going to pin those and sew them. And then I'm also going to mark with pins where I would like to cut it. Okay, the base is done. Now for the fun part. I have a bunch of these rubber snakes. Some of them I painted gold, but it's like flaking off. I only did half of them, so I think I'm not even gonna bother doing the other half. And also it might be nice to have the like differential of the two, some variety. So now I am going to play around with placing these on the dress, and I have these curved needles and I'm going to hand sew them on. I have some of this, I think 14 gauge wire left over from the dragonfly outfit that I made for Electric Forest. And I am trying to shove it into the snake so I can wrap them around like my arms and stuff. We'll see. It's really difficult to do. We'll see if I'm able to do this. I'm using my Pilates socks for some extra grip, but it is still extremely difficult. Next time I do a lot of hand sewing, I need to get like thimbles. That shit hurted. My fingers hurt. Here it is. I did the wire wrapping on this one and my leg, and I'm gonna do one more for on my forearm here. And then I have one snake left after that. It crossed my mind to do something where it's like in my hair like this, and then on this side I'll like braid it into my hair. Or I might put it through the like laces. Cinnamon, stop. Hey. Or I might put it through like the laces of my shoe here. I don't know how much you'll be able to see it because both of the ones I have left are pretty just black on my boot. But, oh, and this one I just like tucked in my underwear. And I think I'm gonna do these fishnets and these little leather gloves. Do I love it? No. Is it even slightly close to what my initial idea was? No, but I knew that wasn't gonna be the case because I couldn't find snakes that like really worked with what my initial idea was. But I don't know, it's good enough. Like a little snaky snake.